I think it's recording, I think. Okay. So it's I don't know. Okay, it's recording. It says recording in progress. Okay, we'll figure it out. All right. So few things. We have Whitney Houston's chart here. Okay. So anybody wants Zoom ID? I see there are 17 participants in Zoom. So thanks for joining. Happy Thursday and Friday. So myself, Srini, and thanks for joining. Thanks for Tana for bringing people's charts. Tana, I'm assuming you validated the timing as well. This is correct, right? Okay. Okay, superb, sweet, thank you. So, few things to look at here, right? Now, Whitney Houston. So let's look at step by step the things which I would do. I would look at, or what I would typically do, right? So look at here. She's born in the ascendant of Satabisha, okay, in Aquarius, right? So Aquarius ascendant. And then what happened is, after Aquarius ascendant as born, she's got moon in Pisces with Jupiter, aspected by Mars. So first, quickly look at ascendant is 15 degrees in the midpoint. Then, keep an eye on Jupiter, keep an eye on moon, and keep an eye on the Saturn here. The three things here are important, right? Now, few things to look at, right? Number one, and then Mahadasa sequence, right? Ascendant Aquarius. And if you see that she is running the Mahadasa sequence, right? And people are messaging me, okay, for this I've given, okay. So people, if anybody wants the Zoom ID, please let me know. It's also in the invite, right? It's also in the thing that you can read the invite for this meeting. You can see the Zoom ID, please, right? So, and if you're going to ask, raise your hands. I can't be moderating this, so I'm going to make you guys moderator. I can't be doing this. It becomes difficult for me. So, okay. So Aquarius ascendant, and see the sequence of Mahadasa, right? Somewhere she's gone in the right Mahadasa sequence again. So she's missed the Saturn, which is fine, but she's got Mercury, she's got Ketu, and she's got Venus. Okay, she's got Mercury, Ketu, and Venus. Number one. Okay, number two is she's finished Ketu, right, in 1978 or so. From 1978 onwards, her Venus Mahadasa started, right? So look at her Venus placements look at the Mahadasa sequences. Or before you go to the Mahadasa sequence, let's see some important combinations in this. Number one is Jupiter and Moon in the second house, right? This is called the Guru Chandra Yoga, right? Now this moon, if you look at, right, if this moon, even though it's close to a waning moon, right, it's a waning moon, but it is with Jupiter at a very close conjunction, right? So even if it's a waning moon, it's still a very strong moon here, right? And this moon is with Jupiter aspected by Mars. And this moon and Jupiter aspected by Saturn, who is the ascendant lord also, right? But understand Saturn is a malefic also. Next, this Saturn is being dignified by Venus aspect. Venus is the yoga karaka for Aquarius ascendant, right? And Sun aspecting the Saturn is not good, right? Then the important planet is the fifth lord, which is the Purva Punya Sthana, right? He's sitting in Leo. And I've always said Mercury is very good in Leo, Mars is good, Jupiter. Three planets other than Sun and Moon, which does very well in Leo, okay? So Mercury sitting in Leo aspecting the ascendant, which is very important because Mercury is alone. He's a benefic here in this case, right? He's alone, he's a benefic. And if you see, there's not a single aspect on Mercury, right? Nobody's aspecting Mercury, technically speaking. Even Jupiter is not aspecting, but this Venus and Sun is aspected by Jupiter. So that's very important to note, Okay, the Venus and Sun aspected Jupiter, Mars is aspected by Jupiter as well. So, and the 10th house. So the 10th lord in this case is Mars. And Jupiter is also aspecting the 10th house in this case, right? Very important. Now, Jupiter and Moon are in a Kendra to Rahu and Ketu, right? So they're all in a Kendra here with each other. Now, what is also important in this case is Mercury aspecting the ascendant, the 5th lord. The Saturn is in his own house, right? Even though in the 12th he's in his own house. The important point here is she is not running Saturn Mahadasa. Saturn Mahadasa comes after 2054. So I don't think one needs to worry about that, right? But that Saturn is also dignified somewhere in by Venus. And Sun is a bad placement, okay? Now, look at, so this is where you're looking at this basic chart here, right? You can look at the nakshatra and stuff. What is important is Jupiter and Moon are in the nakshatra of Revati, okay? The Revati nakshatra for an Aquarius ascendant is the 5th lord, right? So somewhere Jupiter and Moon is placed in the 5th lord's nakshatra in this case, right? Which is Mercury. So do a quick scan of the nakshatras, okay? Venus and Sun may be placed, well, Venus may not be placed in a good position, right? But he's still placed in the nakshatra of Ashlesha, which is the 5th lord, okay? Very important, right? He's placed in the thing. So you, technically speaking, she has got almost 4 planets, right? 4 planets in the nakshatra of 5th lord. Moon, Jupiter, right? Moon, Jupiter, Venus, and Sun. Okay. So that's very important to note as well, right? And the 5th lord, okay? The 5th lord, Mercury, is placed in the 7th house in the nakshatra of Pura Falguni, right? Pura Falguni is owned by Venus, right? Who is a yoga karaka here, right? Who is a yoga karaka for Aquarius ascendant. So what has actually happened, if you see, after her Mercury, so Thana, if you look at 63, from 71 to 78, right? Until her age of 15 years with Ketu Mahadasa, she would have had a lot of issues with health and, some kind of stress issues as well. So you should check the time period between 71 to 78. Dana. Okay. So what is important is when Venus Mahadasa starts for her, right? There is also a health issue trigger. Why? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Venus is placed in the 6th house, right? Runa, Roga, Shaktru. Venus is with Sun. So Venus dignifies Sun a lot. But Venus is also aspected by the Lagna Lord, who's also a malefic, okay? What is also important is Venus is aspected by Jupiter here. That's very important, right? Come to the Navamsha here. Look at some of the Navamsha positions. Mercury, own house exalted here. Saturn in a friendly Navamsha. Okay. Venus, Ketu and Rahu, Vargotama. You can see here, Ketu and Rahu, Vargotama. Venus comes to Sagittarius house. And Venus in Sagittarius is pretty strong. Okay, all planets do very well in Sagittarius. Sun is not placed great. Okay, Sun is again not placed well. But Moon and Jupiter is placed pretty well because Jupiter comes into Aquarius, which is called the ring of Jupiter. Okay, I always say it's called the ring of Jupiter, and Jupiter does very well in Aquarius. So you can see some good things in a chart, and you can see very clearly a Venus Mahadasa started at a pretty young age, right? From 1978 or so. So that in 1978, she's almost 15, 16. So really about, coming in front of the thing. And Venus is the nakshatra of Ashlesha, right? So Ashlesha, if you look at, is the serpentine's energy, right? And if you read some of the things about Ashlesha, okay, you will see some very interesting things about Ashlesha. We have discussed in our sessions as well, in the nakshatra readings as well, which we have done, right? What are the things we have discussed about Ashlesha, right? Not only that, it's the first starting point of the how should I say, the Mercury nakshatra, right? Number one. What else? What else we know? Ashlesha comes in the last part of Cancer. Okay, number one. And some of the professions, if we remember, we have discussed about Ashlesha, right? If you remember, we spoke about the serpent energy, and we also spoke about people with secret work, right? Secret, like the CIA, FBI, right? And a lot of things, secret work as well. So somewhere, when she started, there would have been some secret stuff for her which should have done. But also some of the things, because it's Venus here, right? So the secret work is not more secret but comes out in the open, right? So there is a lot of things which comes around in the front end. And Venus is all about entertainment, fashion, music, movies, everything pretty much in the front. So that's something very important to note as well in the Ashlesha Nakshatra, right? And very important thing is, um, so because it's Ashlesha Nakshatra, Tala, you may want to check if she got any issues with her head, like migraine or something like that. Headaches, migraine, I don't know. Or even like arthritis or something like that, like bone and joints and stuff issues as well. Is it? Okay. Okay. So that's the issue with this Ashlesha Nakshatra here, right? Which has got a very strong thing. So, and weak body parts is typically the bone joints and stuff, the elbow joints and the body pain, but that's the other thing. Now, the important point you want to see is Venus Mahadasa ran for 20 years, from 1978 to 98. Okay. And then what happened is, after 98, Sun Mahadasa started. Now, in Sun Mahadasa, she would have achieved a lot of gain. Okay. The way why I say she would have achieved a lot of gain is two reasons. This Venus has dignified the Sun a lot. Okay. The Venus has dignified the Sun a lot. Sun is in the friendly house. The house lord is placed in a trine to the Sun and Venus, both. And Jupiter is aspecting it. The bad part is Saturn aspecting it, right? So that is the bad part, right? So give me a minute. So that's the bad part, right? But so in Saturn, Sun, in Sun Mahadasa, right? In Sun Mahadasa, she would have had some kind of, I don't know, death or stuff in the family. I don't know if it's visible, but she would have seen that as well because of the 6th, 12th axis here. Or it also could be some relationship issues as well in Sun Mahadasa between Venus to Sun. So you can see all the charts here in the screen in Zoom. See, the important point is, right, the important point is also Mars in the 8th is very bad placement, right? Very bad. But somewhere this Mars is dignified, right? This Mars is dignified only because of Jupiter and Moon here. So that is the big savior here, right? So So that's a big savior for Whitney Houston, right? And then I'm trying to think. Give me a minute. So Venus Mahadasa would have also given her marriage and stuff. Is that correct? Marriage, children. Tama? Last part. So I see. I probably think it's around Venus Mercury or something. I'm circling it here. See, I around the 93, 94 time period. 93, 94. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if you look at it, I just did a quick thing here in the right hand side, right? So that's this part of Venus Saturn here, right? Because of the ascendant Lord and Venus here. This is why I said the last time period of 93, 94. Because Saturn, Mercury, you see, this is all very favorable for her. Venus, Saturn, Venus, Mercury, extremely favorable for her because of the team A group here, right? So that is something important to note as well, that that person would have got, or in this case, Whitney Houston would have got, things pretty much settled in the Venus Mahadasa, right? So, all right. So let's look at some more interesting thing. Thank you, Tana. Yeah, the this one, right? The bodyguard. I will, yeah, the bodyguard. Kevin Costner, the Kevin Costner one. Yeah. So 92. Okay. So here I'm changing. Uh, I'm going to Ashtak Vargas. Okay. So let's look something very interesting, Ashtak Varga, which we did last week through this also. So before we go to, okay, or we go to Ashtak Varga, 1 minute. Did I miss it or no? Not yet. Give me a minute. I had to wake up very early in the morning for a work call, so I have like a bad headache also today. Probably my voice is pretty low. So
Srini, I
here is
wanted
an
to
interesting
add
thing.
too.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Srini, I
let's
wanted
look
to
at.
add too.
So
Okay.
we have the chart here, right? We spoke about Ashtak Varga last week as well, and if people are not able to follow me, speak out in Zoom, speak out in Clubhouse, whatever it is, right? Otherwise, I would not know, and I would keep on be talking. Look at some red flags here. Okay, look at some red flags for Ashtak Varga here. So the first red flag is look at Saturn numbers, right? And there is a red flag coming in 0 here for Saturn in Ashtak Varga number, right? And it shows the 6th house, which has the 21 score. Okay, so 6th house 21 score, that means it's I would say the 21 score is here, right? This house, if you see, I'm circling 21. Quick way to do is 21, 21. So this is 6th house here, but for her it's the 8th house, right? The good part is Jupiter and Moon as dignified. Okay, the Jupiter and Moon are dignified, but when Saturn would have come exactly or opposite to this, and the 7th here, right, which is 28 here, where it scores 1, the lowest number, she's got challenges. So if you look at her, right, when did Saturn come into Virgo? Saturn in transit would have come into Virgo around 2009-10. I'm just doing a quick math in my head. So, and then Libra 11-12 or something like that. So, Thana, check anywhere from 2009 onwards about her. Okay. 1 minute. Let me see when did Saturn enter Virgo. 1 minute. I'm just checking when Saturn entered Virgo because I'll give you the date. From there on, I'm trying to do Saturn in Virgo in my head. And 1 minute. Saturn was in Virgo. Yep. So Saturn came into Virgo around September 2009. Okay. Look from post September 2009 onwards. What happened in her life? It would be more like a downfall. Okay. Okay. So and then even 2000 so September 2009, even look at 10 and 11. 10 and 11 would have also been a challenge for her. Okay. Okay. Great. Now let's look at this one. Let's look at I'm moving screens again from Ashtak Varga to this one. Okay. So let's look at something interesting here. So look at it in her Mahadasa. In her Mahadasa, what is happening here? In her Mahadasa, right? The 9 onwards, if you look at it, right? It's Moon Mercury. Okay. If you look at its Moon Mercury, see the placement of Moon and Mercury, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Sixth, Mercury is placed sixth from Mercury or Moon, right? Mercury is placed from sixth from Moon, and Moon is placed eighth from Mercury, right? And the house owner is placed 12th to Mercury, right? The house owner Sun is placed 12th to Mercury. So this is where in the Mahadasa you can see the challenges. And also one important thing, very important thing is for an Aquarius ascendant, Moon Mahadasa is usually very challenging, very, very challenging because of the ownership of the 6th house. Okay. For an Aquarius ascendant, Moon Mahadasa is extremely challenging. So you can see from the Mahadasa as well. You can see from the Ashtakvarga also, right? But you would always check from the Mahadasa. But when Saturn gives you 0 point there, that's a red flag for you straight away. Okay. Tana, any other questions in this, Tana? Or anybody else, any questions before we can go to another chart? In 2011, right? Moon Ketu, right? So the Moon Ketu. So, you know, and Moon Ketu is not easy as well, typically. Moon Rahu, Moon Ketu is pretty challenging as well. Okay. Thank you, Tana. Any other questions?
Where does it show her profession will be singing?
So I don't know her death period, though. Somebody has to tell me the death time period, Pritesh. I don't. When? When was it? Okay. Let's see what you get. February 11th, 2012. Okay. Okay. There we go. See the sequence. See the date. If people can see the date, it's Moon, Venus, right? Moon, Venus, Moon, Jupiter, Mercury. So if you look at the first three combination, right, it's actually a moon combination. And I just said that for an Aquarius ascendant, a moon is the most difficult Mahadasa. So if you look at the first three, it's a moon, Venus, moon. The challenge with Venus here is it's placed in the sixth house from the ascendant, right? It's placed in the sixth house. And the problem here is that it's placed in the house of the depositor. The depositor is again moon, you see? So end of the day, the Venus is somewhere also controlled by moon. So you can see her death date time period here. Moon, Venus, moon, and then Jupiter. So technically speaking, these two planets plus this planet here, which is controlled by again this planet. So does that make sense? So you can see that for an Aquarius ascendant also, she's dying during the time period of the sixth lord here, the Mahadasa sixth lord here, right? So, and if you break down to the first three things, you can see that very clearly. So, right. So couple of interesting things, right? Thana, one interesting thing is this Rahu is very strong here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, guys, I said yesterday very clearly, and even last week, if people who are there can remind me again, or tell me if I'm not said that. I've said in multiple sessions. When you have a malefic in the fifth house, what happens? There is a first child, there is a block, or the first child will be a female child. Is that correct? The first child won't live. Okay, female child, first child. Okay, so that's again shows that malefics, you see, very simple, right? This is a male sign, female sign, male sign. That's okay. It's a male sign. But end of the day, when a malefic comes here, right? When a malefic comes here, automatically it will block the child. It will block. She would have had issues in getting the child also. So do check Tana. She would have got issues in having the child. I don't know, some kind of issues she would have seen it. There you go. There you go. Thank you. So this is exactly what I was telling. I think Marjorie, you were there yesterday, right? Or I was telling that again, that you look at in the fifth house, when Rahu Ketu comes, usually gives you first a miscarriage. It will give you a miscarriage more than likely. And then you will get a child later who would typically be a female child. Is that fair to say, Marjorie, I said that? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Thank you. So that's probably the Ketu Mahadasa. Okay. Jaya, you had a question, Jaya? So there is a way to do that. There is a way to do that. I don't want to go into that now to teach people. I don't want to go there. If you want it, I'll discuss with you offline. There's a way to do that. There's a way or stuff to do that. Okay. So I don't want to go into those things because death is not something which is really a very pleasant thing, right? So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so she was like bisexual, is that correct? Okay. So that's here. That's starting from Satabhisha Nakshatra. Okay, so starts from Satab. So don't go and immediately think that, oh, I have Satabhisha Nakshatra and I'm not like that. It's not that way. I'm explaining the logic here. Satabhisha Nakshatra, and Rahu sits in the fifth. Okay, so go and check, guys. Go and check somewhere online. See if she's got multiple affairs as a child itself. As a kid, child means I shouldn't say child. As a kid, 15 years, 14 years, 16 years, she would have got multiple relationships. So that's, yeah. Okay, so the bisexual here, right? Let me tell you how it works. Okay, and the sexual drive, both. Okay, couple of things. Number one is the Saturn Venus aspect. It's a challenge. If you go and listen to my videos in where I would have said in I think Taurus houses and Saturn Venus always. Saturn Venus aspect, I've always said, gives you very challenging issues with the sexuality. Okay, Saturn Venus conjunction, Saturn Venus aspect. Okay, now what is happening in this case? Right, what is happening is why Saturn. So also let's take up why I'm also focusing on Saturn here. Saturn is the ascendant lord. Okay, Saturn is the ascendant lord. Now Saturn is the ascendant lord, so that's she, right? And a Venus aspect on it, right, actually helps Saturn, which is great. But a Saturn on aspect on Venus doesn't help Venus. One way it helps is as a Lagna Lord, it helps as a Lagna Lord, ascendant Lord. But as a malefic, right, as a malefic aspecting is not a great thing, right? So that is where the challenge is here, number one. So usually when Saturn aspects that kind of a thing with Venus, right, or Saturn Venus conjunction, somewhere the sexuality is there, right? The next one, what you would have to look at is the third house, third lord, right? Third house, third lord is the sexuality as well. And third house, third lord, the high amount of sexuality coming in is, so you look at third house, third lord. Who is aspecting the third house, third lord? Look at that. So this is 1, 2, 3, third lord. Okay. So third house, you always look for the sexual drive, right? The third lord is Mars. The third lord Mars is aspecting the own house here, if you see. Okay. Being a malefic gives you that thing. This house is not dignified at all. This house is not dignified. Mars is dignified, but Mars is still placed in the bad house, in the 8th house, in inimical house, Mercury here. Okay. So that is one. Now this dual nature, also important dual nature, this bisexual thing, right, is also another reason where Mercury as a planet aspecting the ascendant. So that is also that. Because Mercury is the planet which is Inuch, right? The Inuch planet. But this Inuch planet placed in the 7th house, right, kind of gives you that and being fifth lord as well here is a combination. The important point for her where she's not lost her so-called, I would say, the impotency or stuff is because of this Jupiter aspecting this Venus here. See, this Venus is already a little bit of challenge position. Why? Venus is in Cancer. Okay, Venus is in Cancer, so it feels uncomfortable. The house owner. Venus is with Sun. another enemy here. So Venus is somewhat uncomfortable. Third is Venus as a planet being aspected by a malefic Saturn. Okay, the saving grace is this Jupiter aspecting this Venus. If Jupiter is not in this equation, let's say, right, I would even be looking at her to being saying that she could be even important and stuff like that in this case. But that's a different case though. So if Rahu comes here, this Rahu is coming into this year, then it's a whole different ball game again. Rahu is Venus, Saturn is Venus, it's always a challenge. Yeah, did I answer the question? Guys, did I answer the question? Saturn Venus aspect makes what? Say that again. I lost you. Good at what? I didn't understand. Did anybody understand what she said, or is it just me? Okay, so okay, I was not sure. Okay. Is this clear? Is this helpful, guys? I don't know. Is this clear, helpful? Any feedback so far? Okay. I think we lost Chetana. Are you back? Any questions from Zoom? People are quiet in Zoom. Wow, there's 20 people already in Zoom and people are quiet. Any questions in Zoom? Is it? Okay, one minute. So 1 minute. Okay, I'm glad you're telling me now. So 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, why? That's interesting.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yes. Okay, okay.
Great, I can hear in Zoom now. Perfect, thank you. Okay. So Tana, you were trying to say something, Tana? Saturn, Venus? No. So Saturn, Venus makes the person high sexual energy? No. It's actually the opposite. It's the opposite. And the reason why I'll tell you it's the opposite is because what is Saturn? Understand, wherever Saturn comes, it's a problem, right? And so it's good for Saturn. Saturn gets dignified, but Venus will lose the thing, and you don't want Venus to lose it. So the challenge is with Venus losing the whole thing is the problem. So that is what the challenge with Saturn and Venus here, typically, in a conjunction, right? So malefics with Venus is always a challenge because the malefics will gain strength and get dignified, but Venus would lose the strength. The only problem with Venus is Venus was only got the 7th aspect, right? Unlike Jupiter. So the problem is Venus will lose Jupiter, right? Sitting here, aspecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This is Jupiter doesn't lose strength, and Jupiter's with full strength here because he's close to Digbala, directional strength. 2, he's in his own house, Pisces. 3, he's with Moon, his own best friend. 4th, he's aspected by Mars, another of his friend. So he's very happy end of the day. He's very happy. You know? Moon is getting help, right? Moon is also placed with Jupiter in Pisces. Venus, correct. Venus, look at the things, right? Venus is placed in the 6th house. Now, Venus in the 6th is a very bad placement. Very bad placement, Venus in the 6th. So Venus in the 3rd house and 6th house is really bad, okay? Venus is very good in the 12th house. Excellent. That Venus does so well in the 12th, not bad in the 8th. The third and the sixth is the problem for Venus. He's in the sixth house, number one. Venus is sitting in Cancer, enemy. Venus is with his another enemy, Sun, right? Venus is aspected by a malefic Saturn. Okay, these are the four negatives for Venus having it, right? The saving graces, Venus belongs to team B as Yoga Karaka here, as the captain and Yoga Karaka, and aspected by a Jupiter with full strength. That was the blessing for her in the Venus. Okay, so that's how it is. Now, see, in terms of this high sexual energy, this high number of people romancing, also Rahu in the fifth will give you that. Rahu in the fifth will give you multiple relationships, very high level of romance and love. Sexual energy, you come back to the third house, third lord here. And that is aspected by, this house is not dignified at all, you see. So, okay. Any other questions? No, this one, yes, correct. Jupiter, moon is aspected by Saturn, correct. Absolutely correct. No, see, Saturn, so Saturn aspecting Jupiter and moon is good as ascendant lord, but is bad as Saturn. Saturn aspecting a moon always is a problem. So there could be issues with the mother usually, right? But having said that, check the chart. There will be issues with the mother for her. Okay, Saturn aspecting the moon, but somewhat it will be show decently okay because you check several things. Okay, you have to check few things, issues with the mother. So I will break down the sequence here.
No, she did have issues with her mom.
So I'll explain.
She was closer to the father.
Okay, there it explains. I'll explain now. Okay, explain all the rules of how you apply. You don't go one rule. Okay, first, Jupiter and moon together. Moon is strengthened up, excellent. Mars aspect on moon, I don't have a problem with it. They are friends, no problem. The challenge is first, it's in the second house. Second house is a Maraka house. Second and seventh are Maraka houses. So there is some negativity in the second house, right? Being the sixth lord owner in the second house, that's what she also kind of died in the Mahadasa of moon. Now, look at all the negative points, what Parashara says. Saturn aspecting the moon, number one. Okay? Problem with mother. Now, the fourth lord in this house, let's check the fourth lord. 1, 2, 3, 4th. The fourth lord is Venus. Venus is placed in the sixth house again from the ascendant. Okay? Number 2 problem, right? Number 3, from this house, fourth house, the fourth lord is placed in the third house. Bhavat Bhavam, if you apply, is placed in the third house. 1, 2, 3, right? Problem. Look, we know how Venus is not greatly placed, right? Now Parashara also says that you apply fourth from the moon, right? Fourth from the moon for the mother. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have Rahu here. So there is definitely the issue with the mother. You see all the negative things? I didn't say one rule, right? I never said moon, Saturn aspecting the moon, that's the problem. You look at all these things. The Jupiter moon, there is somewhere a blessing there, but the mother will live for some time. Otherwise, if Jupiter is not there, the her mother would have passed a little early or so. But no problem. But you have to apply all these rules like the way I broke it down, right? So should we look at the relationship with the father? Should I explain that also? To the chart here.
Because the father sued her during 2002, around that area.
Sun Mahadasa, Sun Ketu probably, okay? So let's look at the father relationship. So father, how you break down is, ninth house, ninth lord. Okay, ninth house, ninth lord, sun, ninth from sun. Okay, you have to check all these combinations. So the ninth house in this case is this house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This Libra house. Okay. Is Jupiter aspecting this Libra house? No. Is Saturn aspecting the Libra house? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Saturn is aspecting this house, ninth house. So father's house, Saturn is aspecting. So there is an issue with the father also. There is an issue by this way, right? One. Who is the ninth lord here? Venus, right? Let's look at where is Venus placed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In a Kendra, which is fine. But again, we know Venus is badly placed. Kendra is little better, right? But Venus is badly placed in Cancer and all those things. We know that already, okay? The next is we look at Sun, okay? Sun 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is placed in the sixth house from the ascendant, okay? So we know that. Now he's placed in a friendly house in Cancer. Sixth is not a bad house for Sun. Now let's look at ninth from the Sun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. So you see both plus and minus here in this case, right? You see plus and minus. So there is a mixed bag with the father.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Yeah. Hi. Gulika is important. Gulika is important. So Gulika is nothing but Saturn's kind of the energy there, the sun's energy or stuff. It is important, right? That is also another block. But I don't want to confuse people with, we already have 7 planets, so 5 planets, then 2 planets, sun and moon, and then other 2 shadow planets. So I don't want to get into Gulika here. If you need to be an expert astrologer to understand that. Okay. I don't want to confuse with too many things, right? We are trying to, people are at a learning phase here. If you start throwing a lot of things, they would get confused here. So, sure. You're welcome. Tana, should we go to the next chart or something, or any other questions? Anybody else? But thank you for bringing the chart, Tana. Okay, let's go to the next one. Sure, go ahead. So before you look at serial killer, I'll just tell you some combinations of serial killer. Okay, combinations. Let's see that. So importantly, very important is the ascendant has to be afflicted. Ascendant lord has to be afflicted. Ascendant lord. Number one. Okay, afflicted means malefic planets. Malefic is Rahu, Ketu, right? Mars, Saturn. These malefic planets. Ascendant lord. And if it has to be serial killer, it means multiple times doing it. That means moon and Mercury also will involve in this combination somewhere, getting afflicted. Okay, number two. Third one is this person will have all bad mahadasas of the ascendant versus the team A, team B. These are some of the rules to look at, right, of a serial killer. So let's look at it. Okay. Who? Who? I don't know the name. Okay. Jeffrey. And what's his last name? Okay. I don't even know who he is. Okay. Okay. 1 minute. May 21, 1960. Okay. 4/16/34. Okay. Oh my God. He was born very close to where I'm living. Oh my God. I didn't realize. Yeah, I know, but oh yeah, Wisconsin. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. I always have to watch for sure. I didn't realize. Okay. All right. So is this correct? May 21, 1960, 4:34. Correct? Okay. May 21st, 1960. So let's look at it. Rahu Ketu is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 12 axis. Okay. So 12th axis, right? Rahu in the 12th. I would have said several times about imprisonment. And so was he put in the jail or something also? Okay. So Rahu in the 12th, I'm very hesitant to say, right? But very hesitant to say that usually Rahu in the 12th will give some kind of foreign, but depending on what it is, but will also give jail. Okay. And interestingly, understand here, don't look at saying Rahu in my chart, look at several things. Rahu is placed in Leo. It's a very bad, deadly combination. Okay. Rahu placed in Leo, number one. Number two, so he's got, so Virgo ascendant. Okay, so look at it, Virgo ascendant. He's got Moon and Mars here in the 7th. Both team A, B ascendant, team A planets sitting here. Okay. And in the 8th house, he's got Venus, right? In the house of Mars. Okay. And in the 9th house, he's got Sun and Mercury, right? Now, what is happening is Saturn is aspecting Ketu here. Okay. Saturn is aspecting Ketu. This is not a conjunction. Do not read this as a conjunction because it's 16 degrees apart. 16 degrees apart. Okay. So if you read that, the Saturn can get dignified to an extent because he is in the house of Jupiter. But having said that, the Saturn has an issue in this case of not being dignified. Okay. And he is aspecting Ketu, right? Now, important. Who else is aspecting who? Jupiter is aspecting Venus. Any other important combination? Sun and Mercury here, Mars, no Parivardhana Yoga, Mars comes here. So, couple of interesting things. One, Tana, Rahu 12th definitely issues. Okay. So he's finished Mercury, Ketu, Venus. Is Venus Mahadasa? Venus is sitting in the 8th. Okay. Here. And in the Navamsha, look at where Venus is sitting. So if you go and check, somewhere in his Venus Mahadasa is when he would have started the problems would have started for him. What's that? Okay. Okay, so let's look at some of the combinations of the mother here, right? Same thing like what we did last time. 1, 2, 3, 4th house. Mother, 4th lord. Who is sitting? Saturn is sitting. So number 1. Okay, even though Jupiter is sitting, Saturn is sitting. That's a red flag. Okay, number 1. Number 2. Number 2 is Moon, right? Here. Who is with Moon? Moon is with Mars here, right? So there is, even though it's a friend, there is a little bit of negative energy also, right? So that is 2. And is sitting in the 7th house. Now, 2nd and 7th are Marakas. Okay, number 2. The third one is look at 4th from the moon. Okay, So fourth house and the fourth lord is afflicted because of Saturn here, right? The Jupiter is far enough, right? Jupiter is far enough, fair enough, but the fourth house, fourth lord has a Saturn presence there. Now, fourth from the moon, okay? 1, 2, 3, fourth from the moon, which is the 10th house, right? Now, look at the 10th lord, this house, right? Fourth from the moon. This lord is placed 12th through this house, right? And is aspected by Saturn also, along with Jupiter. You see? This Jupiter is not dignifying the Saturn here. Okay? So you have to understand that, that this is very important to know how you read the thing, because Saturn is also a natural malefic. You cannot underestimate that as well, right? So it doesn't make sense. Hello? Sorry. 1 minute. Sorry. Is it? I was told that there is an astrologer, Dilip Kumar. Is he in the room here? I was told, I just got a message. There is an astrologer in the room. So I just want to recognize him as well.
Yes, I am here.
Hi. Hi, sir. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Good morning or good afternoon. I've heard a lot from a lot of your students who come to me. I've heard a lot about you. So I just thought I would say hi and recognize you in the forum as well. A lot of your
Thank you.
students come to me and they give very high praises about you.
Okay. Yeah, you're doing a good job. Please continue.
No, thank you. And one of your few students have sent me a video with Rao, Subba Rao, right?
YVS,
YVS
Dr.
Rao.
YV Subba,
Unbelievable,
YVS. Yeah.
unbelievable astronomer, astrologer as well.
Yes, yes.
And I actually love, sir, that how you guys also look at from a physics angle as well.
Okay. That's the astronomy part.
Exactly. See, but Jyotish is divine light, right? Jyotish is divine light. So everything is about physics and light here, sir, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes. But sometimes I used to tell people that if you get so much involved with the astronomy portion, then it's like looking at the music instrument and trying to understand the instrument instead of playing it. Understand? So,
No,
but of course,
very
you
good, right? Absolutely. Like the way I probably say it is, astrology and astronomy is when you have all the planets, you have Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. When you give life to them, it becomes astrology.
okay.
You want to add any points here? Please go ahead. It's a pleasure that your students have started messaging me already. That's how I know you are here. So I just don't know where you are in Zoom, Clubhouse. So they are very excited for you to come here as well. But please.
I'm new to Clubhouse concept, so I've been using Zoom for a long time.
Good.
So
It's Rahu's energy and technology comes into play.
yes, of course.
You want to add any thoughts, suggestions here? Go ahead.
I can say that a serial killer is a person who's an adharma person, you know,
Yes,
dharma and adharma. So whenever the Lord of the ninth house is the house of dharma, and so you see that the the Lord of the nine,
it's 12th through the 9th.
yeah, it is in the eighth house.
Correct.
So it is against the dharma. You know, whenever ninth Lord is in the eighth, or even eighth Lord is the ninth. But,
Right.
but then what happens is you also, this is quite serious because Venus uh, sits in the house of violence,
Yeah. Right.
Mars sign, and it is further heated up because it is a Kritika nakshatra.
Right.
So that makes it even more stronger. So, but of course, you're following the right step by not going by any single rules. You always notice that you're stacking up. You do the stack up method, which I always recommend to my students. Don't do it by one rule or two rule, because they say, one swallow does not summer make. So you cannot say just like that as soon as you see 9th cloud and 8th.
Yeah, because
So
absolutely right. It's not only rules, you have to also apply exceptions here, right? So even if you look at in this case, the Jupiter is aspecting the Venus here, right? But it's not doing the thing what it's supposed to do also, right? If you see that way.
so the connection between Jupiter and Venus and Jupiter and Saturn, they come into a different class, because in parashara, the Maharishi has given examples of where, in spite of being a Kendra and the Trikona Lord, Jupiter and Saturn, they do not form yoga at all.
Correct. Especially if you look at, even if you look at, like, for example, Aries ascendant, right? Dharma Karma Pati Yoga. There's no Dharma Karma Pati
Yeah.
Yoga exactly, because it's
Yeah.
also Badaka
So
here.
he's mentioned,
Correct.
it as a separate point. So from that, by reading in between the lines, you understand that Jupiter Saturn conjunction is also bad separately. But of course, in this case, it's not a conjunction. I'm just bringing up the topic. As
Right.
you rightly pointed out, the gap is so much, but it's not a conjunction. But when you look at Venus, Venus is almost right in the middle of the bhava of the,
Correct.
because ascendant is at 26 degrees and this is at 28 degrees. It is better that on and off you show the bhava chart also.
Good
Because
point.
you've shown the Navamsha chart. So
Yeah,
sometimes, it will give us better insights here. And one more thing is, always look out for rare things in the horoscope. For example, you see the ascendant and the moon in the same degree
Yes.
in terms of the house degree. Okay.
Yes.
So,
See,
instead
because
of showing all the
Go ahead.
charts,
Yeah.
you can have just the see where you place the Navamsha, unless Navamsha is being discussed. Otherwise, it's always a Rashi and Bhava is the pair.
Right. So agreed. The reason we look at Navamsha mainly is to see the result, right? Because end of the day, however it's good it placed in Rashi chart, right? You have to see, because as you rightly pointed, Maharishi Parashara follows very well to say that, is it placed in a benefic Navamsha, right? Is it placed in a malefic?
Yes,
Is it
yes, yes.
placed in
Yeah,
exalted, right?
exalted.
Or own.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the Navamsha, right? Because I don't see, the reason is Bhava Chalit chart. I've explained to a lot of these people who are following me here in Clubhouse and everything, the rules of Bhava Chalit, how do you read it? But I've not explained them as in Zoom to explain to them. I've explained to them verbally. You only take the
Okay.
Rashi sign. If it's exalted, is exalted in Rashi. But if it's move one house, it's not anymore fourth house. It's come third house, or it's not fourth, it's fifth. So that's where they might be getting challenged, but absolutely correct. So explaining here, if you look at Bhava Chalit here, right? Coming back in thank you, sir. 1 minute. I'll just take a pause to explain us what you rightly mentioned. So if you look at it, Saturn and Jupiter, why we were saying it is not conjunct, you can see the degrees. Jupiter is moved now to the third house here, right?
Yes.
The way you should read it out is Jupiter is in third house and it's in Sagittarius, and Saturn is in fourth house in Sagittarius. They're not conjunct. It's third and fourth.
Yes.
You have to, it's a border, right? There is a border of 360 degrees. So if you put 0 to 30 and keep doing it, then you'll understand this house only of making the house. Jupiter is still in Sagittarius. It's still in own house, but it's now number 3, right? But the aspect, if you look at it, you should go back to this chart to look at the aspect on Venus and not look from here. So don't do that as well. Very important. Now, what you also see is Sun, Mercury, Venus all coming to the 8th here. They're not in 9th at all. You see, so the reality is Venus is in 8th house Aries. Sun and Mercury here now is in 8th house, but it's in Taurus. That is how you would read it.
Yes.
So the 6th, 8th becomes also a challenge in this process as well, right? And very important to note that how you break down. See, the reality is we all have to understand nobody is born a genius, nobody is born a scientist, nobody is born a serial killer, right? It is how the initial phase of the life somebody has experienced has actually taken it up. So moon somewhere becomes a very important point in a chart, right? And moon, we look at main important things. Number one, moon triggers Vimshottari Mahadasa. Two, moon is the fastest moving planet. Moon is the mind. So moon can take your past actions with today as a date, reference date, forecast or come what is the define your future, right? And also when it comes to transits of Sadesati, right? When it comes to transits of Sadesati, you see from moon, right? And when you have eclipses, right, moon gets the highest affliction in the eclipses, right? So, and especially in your Janma Nakshatra, right? And then the Trijanma Nakshatra, you look at those things as well. So moon is so important in a chart, right? Along with sun and moon. We call it in Hinduism as Shiv Shakti, the sun and the moon. So very important to do that. But sir, go ahead, please add. Sorry.
No, you are adding valid points. So one more thing is that on the background of what you said, that Rahu in the 12th is bad, or even if you look at it as when you say when the rishis say your next region is hellish if you have bad planets in the 12th house, it is a pointer that you could be going towards the worse side of life. Okay, so it is a pointer, it's a possibility. And then immediately what you should do is you should look at dispositor. And in this case,
Sun.
it is
Sun.
right, the sun. So then we find that the sun has also shifted, backwards. And so like that, you can start piling up. But I think the basis for one of the hallmark of a serial killer is to kill anything is a big sin, but then killing human beings is the big one. And so this must be the highest type of unethical, immoral act. So I think it should start from ninth house, and then trying to find out what kind of ninth house fault is it that it would lead him to imprisonment
Understand.
or a hellish region. See, sometimes what happens is in a lifetime, a person may not be actually arrested immediately for what has been done. Sometimes they make an escape, but then they are sure to go to a hellish region or an imprisonment like life in the next birth, based on the number of the sins that they've done, and especially this kind of killing people.
Fair enough. Sir, one other point I
Yeah.
want to add here. See, the way I do a little bit is more than ninth house, I look at fifth house. Because fifth house is your Purva Punya Sthana, right? See, what you
You
add,
can add everything, whatever comes,
okay,
because as many as you can,
fair enough.
that many it will get, that much will
Fair
show
enough.
you. Yeah.
Because see, end of the day, your Purva Punya Sthana has the ability which is you have deposited in your previous birth. Right, see,
Correct.
because the way I tell my all people who are, I myself a learner, okay, so I'm not as experienced or you as well. I'm 20 plus years or so, 22 years or so, but I can tell you one thing is, of all the 12 houses, I always protect the fifth house, fifth lord is the most important thing, apart from the Lagna Lord, Lagna house. Because the ninth is the Bhagyasthana, the fortune. But the fifth house, fifth lord is your Purva Punyasthana, what you're bringing back from your previous birth. So in cases where you are at a downfall or anything, that Purva Punyasthana is the one which can lift you up if you have a good Purva Punyasthana. So in this case, to interpret it here, the fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth lord, fifth house is Capricorn. Okay, and Saturn is the owner. And you see clearly he's 12th to the 5th house, right? In terms of way to look at it. So he's disappeared, right? Now he's retrograde, all those things. Now come back to the Navamsa. See where he's in the Navamsa. He's very badly placed in the house of Scorpio with Mars.
Correct.
Because see, for ninth house, what you get from the fifth to fifth is the ninth if you apply Bhavat Bhava. Right? Ninth is even the good deeds, what you're doing comes as fortune and all those things. But to your point, again, I think the 159, the pillars, and somewhere I don't know, I just focus I've been taught as kid itself to focus more on fifth house, fifth lord.
It is fair enough because fifth house is the fountain from where anything good can come. And if so, if it is, the fifth house, I think is definitely the biggest, starting point. Because in the Kala Purusha, the fifth house is owned by the sun, the biggest one.
Yes, yes, exactly. Thank you. So one question since you are here, there is just, this is off topic, okay? I want to get your thoughts because Rahu, so I I always say Rahu does very, I mean, apart you apply the rules of Rahu here, right? So the the Upachaya houses, right? 3, 6, 11, you can also put 10 if you want. And then Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay. And then the other thing is the house owner depositor should be placed well, right? Third. And then the house owner depositor should be friendly to the ascendant lord, right? Because Parashara says very clearly, because he doesn't have the true ownership, etc. What is your take on, because a lot of people come and ask me and I try to explain to them, but I want to get your thought. What's your take on Rahu in Gemini? Because I have not seen Rahu in Gemini do well at all. Rahu in Virgo is excellent. Kanya Rahu, that's different. But Rahu in Gemini, not really. But I want to get your thoughts.
I think it will be, you need more information on what kind of Rahu this is. But um, I really don't know, like if you simply use the position of a planet in a particular Rashi, how you could get more information out of it, because there's so many other things. For example, where is it from ascendant, where, and the dispositor. So
Fair
few things will change. Yeah. So,
enough.
but there are, as a building block, you could use certain basic things and then start saying that, a particular planet does well here or does not do well here. For example, when you said Rahu in this chart is in the sign of the sun, and not only that, it is in the nakshatra of the sun. So it is
Correct.
2 times the sun. So
Correct.
whenever Rahu and sun meet, there is conflict. Okay. And then we will have to refer Bhrigu Sutram, which says the person having Rahu in the 12th will go to hell. So
Correct.
the movement towards hell. And then apart from that, I think many other books like Paladipika, etc., they have mentioned that the person will be sinful. So, but this is because we were able to find many things against Rahu. So that's how we have done in this case. And then you find the dispositor in the Bhava chart has gone, neatly into the 8th house. So slipping away from the 9th Rashi, where it got a chance to be in the 9th, but he took more time to be born, pushing the ascendant closer to the end of Kanya, forcing the sun to, because this is the logic in astrology, that you take your birth in accordance, matching up with your karma. It's not the other way around, that the planets cause these things upon you.
Correct.
So why did you wait so long? It's only because you wanted the sun to be pushed from the 9th into the 8th. Because if you're born an hour back, you would have retained sun in the 9th, where sun in the 9th says, the sage Bhrigu says it is very good because he'll be a devoted person, etc., except the father problem. Because of the Karako Bhavana, here maybe sage Bhrigu mentioned that. But here you will have to always compare which planet shifted. You understand? When the planet shifts, it is trying to tell something, because it was waiting for that particular point in the ascendant. The ascendant had to be here to push the planets either forward or backward.
Correct.
So I would always use that as like in tarot card, when a card jumps out, we will take that card as the most significant card. So like that, we are wondering, the sun, which look very nice to have sun in the 9th, but even though it's bad because it's already the 12th lord in the 9th.
Right.
Okay. So as
So,
a 12th lord,
but
but
the
I think
way, go
this
ahead.
violence came to him more maybe because the moon is exactly in the seventh,
Mm,
the Bhava Madhya, because it's a
yes,
mind
exactly.
factor, the way you think.
Exactly.
And yeah, so this could have been one of the reasons. But if the software also gives you aspects on moon
Yeah,
in
exactly.
terms of the,
I can move it.
yeah,
If you see my screen, I'll move it.
because you have the parashara method of doing the aspect, not just
Correct.
the counting method.
Yeah, 1 minute. Let me move it 1 minute. Right.
Because this is almost like a being sick, mentally
Now
sick.
here, right?
A sick,
So,
yeah.
so aspects you want to see on moon, right?
Yes, on moon. I don't know. I'm new to the software.
That's okay.
So,
1 minute.
okay, aspects from moon, aspects on moon.
You want to see 1 minute. This is you can 1 minute. Let's see. So moon is the okay. So what you can do is let's look at this. Who is aspecting the moon? So each of the chart you can see basically, sir. So you can do this way. 1 minute.
It's not the other way around, is it?
Correct.
Okay.
1 minute.
Could
So
have been, there must be something in the options to let you see that single graph where you have.
I have aspects on this. Okay, so let's look at this way. This option you can use. So aspects on the 7th house, right? Give me 1 minute. Let me see. 1 minute. Aspects on the 7th house. Doesn't have that. 1 minute. Aspects on 7. Aspects on house plus lord. 7th house. This is house plus 7th lord. Basically both in this case. So you can see the left. It shows the other way around in this case.
But not the one on the planets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't think I've seen that.
No, I think there must be some options.
Okay.
If somebody had made such an extensive software, because this is essential part of Vedic astrology, the aspects.
Yeah,
and
but
the aspects are not exactly like digital, it is analog. And so it will go from the third, from Saturn, it will go to a peak and then start coming down, but it doesn't come down so quickly. And only around the 6th house, it goes to zero. So
yeah,
I think they
this
must
particular
be
case, every house there is an aspect, right? Technically speaking.
correct. Yeah. So you can actually, whenever you're reading a topic, the most important thing is about this is the mental thickness. So it must be the moon mainly.
So if you look at down, if you look at each of this chart, other way to interpret, right? Aspects from Saturn. So you can see from Saturn is showing almost this much, 70% that is aspect on moon, if you see because of the degrees.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of doing the finger counting method, it's always better to keep an eye on this. Though the finger counting method will give you the maximum aspect. Okay. So like this,
Fair
you
enough.
can, yeah. So whenever Saturn connects to the moon, there is this, there is a kind of mind, like a different mind, a mind that borders on
negativity and darkness.
not exactly. We can't say that's all the time because sun moon conjunctions are also what makes a sannyas. But I think in all of this, there is a different kind of approach to life. Either too much of compassion or too much of hatred, or zero compassion. So it will border. So depending upon what you are, for a sannyas, a Saturn moon conjunction is healthy, whereas for a grihastha, a Saturn moon conjunction makes them mentally sick. They can get depressed. They can, all these people are depressed actually.
Stress. It's exactly right. So that's the whole thing which drives negativity in this case, right? So
Yes.
it's the stress and the thing. So one question to you. So I follow and I tell people here to follow 360 days in a year for calculation of Vimshotri Mahadasa. What do you follow, sir? 360, 365, 25?
365.25.
Okay, you follow 365.25. So all the books says, everything says to follow 360. Surya Siddhanta. And in my case itself, I could see when the Mahadasa, Antardasa changes, I could see the difference. See, Surya Siddhanta, Brihajataka's Vara Mira's Brigachataka, all of it says to follow 360.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I was told by one of my friends in astrology. We did study together. The only difference
okay,
between us was this 365 and 360. But I think. But the point is, sometimes it's very strange. Astrology at one point becomes a very strange subject where you could make a prediction even without astrology. Okay.
true.
Mm, just because you felt that this is the way you have to answer this question. And there are several ways of doing it. But at the same time, like when I'm using 365.25 days, uh, in my life, I've seen certain things happening exactly at the date the dasha began. For some people, it has coincided so well. But then again, it is based upon their time of birth. So I think why we are all getting away with this is because there are so many ifs and buts in astrology,
Variables, right?
and so many are there. Apart from that, the time of birth, error, this and that. So we do not know exactly. But I think if the sun comes back to the same point again and again in 65.25 days, that is the actual year.
See,
But
but they say in every 72 years, the zodiac shift belt moves by counterclockwise 1 degree as per Surya Siddhanta. Okay. So zodiac belt, so April 14th is New Year, let's say Tamil New Year. In the 72-year span, it will somewhat move to April 13th. Okay. So the point here is that the 360 actually see, we are applying all the rules from the book, right? The degrees and all those things, which is always phenomenal how they have all done it in those days, right? Aryabhatta, Varahamira, and all those people, Parashara, and all those people. But what I have seen in it's my own life experience is it was a learning from Rahu to Jupiter. When I predicted some of those events will happen, those events actually happened almost 7 months earlier than what it happened. When I opened and I was following 365.25 per software, and I missed that point. I didn't realize software is only doing 365.25, not 360. Then when I did a counter check and everything, when I adjusted it, I could figure it out. But this wisdom, by the time I saw, my Jupiter Mahadasa already started. I got that wisdom. But I was thinking those things are only going to happen either 8 months or 7 months time, but it already happened 7 months earlier. So to your point earlier, I think the universe is always smarter than us, right? So they will only give you when they want to give you something.
Yes, but I think I used a simple idea. How do we define a year? So I think a year can always be defined when the sun comes
Sun
back to the
enters
same
Aries.
point. Okay,
Sun enters
so
Aries at 0 degrees.
yeah, and so simply because that's the way the entire year itself was calculated, right? Right. In 365.2524 days, it is a year. That is what the whole world also agrees. So I switched over to that side. Maybe sometimes I used to think that the 360 is very easy to do all the calculations instead of working with the fractions. And so people in those days, when the time of birth itself was not available so often, uh, mostly not available than available. So I thought maybe they never made a fuss of this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're going to give us the wrong time. So why do we need I mean, this is my assumption of it, okay?
Understand.
Because it's easy to multiply a whole number than handle fractions. But anyway, I think these are the gray areas in astrology where you could get lost in it and miss the whole prediction itself.
No, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. But so the way, because I'll tell you the way when I do in my consultations and stuff, I only use 360, number one. And
Okay.
number two is all the things I use Navamsha. And I stop till Dasamsha. I don't go beyond Dasamsha because of the accuracy of the time. Okay. So I don't go to Sashtiyamsha. No, I don't even touch anything about Dasamsha. I don't touch anything. Okay. D10 is the last. Number two. Number three is to predict the actual events happening as what it is. I use the Bhava chart. Everything I use Bhava chart. That is the robust one because the Bhava is the one, to your point. It actually tells you how the movement shift has happened. It's not anymore the ninth, it's moved to the eighth, right?
Yes.
So
Can you change the screen and show the chart again?
Sure. I'll come back. 1 minute.
Also, since you spoke about divisional chart, try consider or consider this chart, D7 chart, the Saptamsa chart.
Yeah. For that, I do that. For children, I do that. For children.
Yeah, because in many of my case studies, I was shocked with the Saptamsa more than, of course, it just shown up in the Rashi and the Baba chart. But then the Saptamsa showed even three times more the afflictions where people have never been blessed with a child. I found the Saptamsa answers it all. So therefore, I think you're right. Let's not use all the divisional chart and waste time. So Navamsha is obviously the queen of the divisional charts. And then D10, because today everybody is asking about career. But children, those of who don't have children, that is the biggest thing in this world. And so therefore D7 could also be really helpful.
So I was looking at somebody's chart for child actually yesterday for the consultation, and I was typing these comments as well. In the Saptamsa chart, the Lagna was Sagittarius. Okay.
Lagna?
Was in the Saptamsa.
Oh, Sagittarius ascendant.
Okay. Ascendant. Okay. Now the fifth house comes into Aries. Now Aries is a sign which doesn't give you children. Okay.
That's the one like a barren.
Correct. And then the Lord is sitting there. The fifth Lord, Mars, is sitting there also.
Okay.
Now in the basic chart, already this person have affliction in the fifth house, malefics again sitting. Okay. So again fifth house you have malefic. The fifth Lord is going to one of the other sign. I think it was going to Leo, another sign which doesn't give you child again. Right? Because even though the sun is the natural significator of the fifth house, but Leo doesn't give you the children, right? It blocks. So
it's a barren sign.
Correct. Right. Barren sign, it's a blocking sign for children. So in all those things you see, and what is very interesting is, unfortunately, that person is also undergoing Ketu Mahadasa on top of this.
Okay, Ketu is against.
Exactly. So that's because the timing now, it's an important thing, right? Mahadasa is when you're going to get, right?
Where is Jupiter in the Saptamsa?
In the Saptamsa, I don't remember. I'll have to go and check. I don't.
Always in a divisional chart, you have to first focus on the ascendant Lord itself. The ascendant Lord. In every divisional chart, the ascendant Lord will become the most.
Let me tell you what it is. 1 minute. Let me tell you.
And moreover, even if you take the Lagna Lord in the fifth, it Mercy starts hinting at Putra dosha, slightly, but we don't see the logic. How could first Lord in the fifth create loss of first child? We don't know on what basis that might have been. But I did find a lot of issues with children when people had this Lagna Lord itself in the fifth. Though it should be good actually, because it's like a Trikona connections and a Kendra Trikona connections. But in spite of that, he says loss of the first child, and many people had abortions with this Lagna Lord in the fifth. And you actually pointed out that it is a malefic. 2 times it has shown its presence. Okay, we can add like that. But Saptamsa is definitely great, and I think Dr. K.N. Rao did a lot of research on Saptamsa. And another rule that another idea he came up with is during his research. He said the law, if the 9th house is afflicted by malefics in the D7 chart, then the dosha escalates to a good height. Finally, it will be for me like to say, no, don't wait for a child, go for an adoption. It's only when I see terrible afflictions on the 9th, because I think the logic might be it's all the 5th from the 5th, and the same thing that we are so used to, the 9th from the 9th is the 5th house. So 5 and 9 gets connected. So more than afflictions in the 5th house, the afflictions in the 9th became. But then I understood that this is something to do with the curse of the past life parent, the father. Because the 9th house, he might have done some misdeeds, and then his father might have been very upset with this. And then he might have said, you will soon know what is a child, or something like that. And so in the next birth, they beg for a child, and the child. So he's not given the opportunity to become a parent. So you messed up with parents, and you will not become a parent. So you can see this kind of philosophical connections between houses, and then try to understand the situation. You can also ask how's your experience, how do you behave with your father in this birth? Because from that, you could use that as a means to find out how much affliction you carried forward with regard to your parents.
That's a very good. No, that's a very good point. So here is the thing, right? For that person, the Jupiter is in the Leo sign again. That's the challenge, because in the
Oh,
ninth
okay.
house, even though it's a ninth, you can one way look at the first lord of the ninth and everything, but end of the day, it's still the sign which doesn't give you children. It blocks
And in
children.
the Baba, yeah, and in the Baba chart, where is the fifth lord?
In the Bhava chart, in the fifth lord, 1 minute, let me tell you. It's not moved anywhere. Give me 1 minute. It's
Oh,
not
it's
moved.
still
It's
staying there.
still
Okay.
saying the same thing. Yeah. So 1 minute. Let me tell you the Bhava chart, which is there. It is. It's not moved at all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. The fifth lord. Basically, the fifth lord is in. So the fifth lord is in the ninth house. Okay, it's not moved. Okay. So here is the thing. So in the D1 chart, this person is a Pisces ascendant, right? In a D1 chart. Okay. The fifth lord is moon. Okay. The
Correct.
moon is sitting in the 9,000 Scorpio, close to debilitation. Okay. In the nakshatra of Anuradha. Okay. In the nakshatra of Anuradha. Right. Now it is also the lord of 11th and 12th for a Pisces ascendant. Okay. Now, not only that, he's in moon is at 3 or 4 degrees away from Saturn, who's also sitting in Anuradha nakshatra there.
Okay.
And there is no aspect of Jupiter here on them. Because Jupiter is in 12th house, so Jupiter
Correct.
is to the ascendant.
Not supporting. Yeah, not
Correct.
supporting.
Correct. Right? Now, if you look at it, even though if you consider Scorpio is very good sign for having a kid, right? Scorpio, Cancer, Sagittarius also.
Fertile signs.
Pisces, Sagittarius also correct. But the problem here is in Scorpio. He is in close to debilitation, right? But in the nakshatra of Anuradha with Saturn again, the nakshatra owner. That's a big challenge, right? So, and the most important point is, right? See, I feel that when you're running fifth lord Mahadasa, ninth lord Mahadasa, right? There is a gap always which can come in slowly in that, right? When you're running fifth and ninth lord Mahadasa. But the minute you are running a Mahadasa like Ketu, I mean, if you know very well, right? Maharishi Parashara says Ketu Mahadasa, he doesn't rank very well at all. Is that fair to say? Correct? No matter what it is, it does.
I now, he starts off by saying, I now describe the dasha of the headless trunk, headless body. So it just doesn't tally with our worldly matters. Yeah. And
So,
worldly matter is marriage and children.
Yeah, everything is it's a difficult time period. It's really a difficult time period, and so that's why I always say to people that Parashara has done beautiful way of how he's have the two malefics, Rahu, Ketu, and then he's put the two greatest benefics after the Mahadasas after them, right? Rahu after Jupiter and Ketu after Venus, right? The energies to support that, how they come in. So you have to undergo your past birth karma. And I always say that people who are born in certain nakshatras and who are able to undergo Rahu and Ketu Mahadasa in this birth, they actually extinguish the loss of their karma.
And you also in this chart or in any chart, you should concentrate on the pairs of planets that have the same degree in any sign. For example, here Jupiter is at 27 degrees and Sun is at 27 degrees. And the sixth house aspect on of Jupiter by Jupiter on the Sun will be like 0, right? Sixth house is 0. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So you can, of course, by using the stack up method, you can really, each time you can get perfect predictions and understanding or reading. It's definitely possible. And in this case, it's also the Sun happens to be the sixth lord in the fifth. You understand? Sixth lord in the fifth is he was this person was inimical to his children in his past life.
Correct, correct,
So
correct.
because the enemy and the child has got connected. But moreover, children is a reproduction aspect of life, and then it is also a marriage aspect. Because marriage is done only for primarily, or intention for marriage is only birth of children. And now you see, whenever the Lagna Lord goes one step backwards into the 12th, you miss the 1-7 axis, right?
Mm.
So the 1-7 axis is the union house, and what good can come out of union? Are you producing a child? So it got just twisted, out of the 1-7 axis, where already Venus is debilitated, and all that was. And no, this is not this chart. Okay, the previous chart.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Understood.
this is a serial killer chart.
Correct, correct. The one you're seeing, understood, understood.
Yeah.
No, this is a great
I-
pleasure. And really, we are so blessed for you having on. For us, it's a Jupiter day today, Thursday, and I think you're in India, so it's Friday for
Yeah,
you.
we are
Anyhow,
we
it's
are
the
on
two, anyhow, it's the two greatest benefits and the two greatest, so-called benefits, or the gurus, the two greatest gurus day. We are able to get a person like you, and I would highly recommend that everybody follow. Please follow Mr. Dilip Kumar in Zoom as well. I've been getting so many messages as I'm talking to from your followers as well, who have sent me that you were told me that you are here. So
Okay, okay.
today is
I
also
think
today's Ashwin Nakshatra. So
okay.
there is the moon energy also coming here. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, I just wanted to, I just want to listen from other people, because sometimes you get lost in your own world of the way you approach things. So you can always learn from anybody and everybody. That's what I say. So I'll tell people, spend time with the auto rickshaw driver, spend time with a toilet cleaner, and talk to them and find out about life. So it's always, like you meet great astrologers, you meet great scientists, doctors, engineers. Everybody will have something to say, and
Absolutely.
where you will have something to learn. So, as they always say in India, that we have only learned a little bit of. So it's good to keep sharing and talking, discussing. Without, we'll just like how much ever we know, whatever points we know, as we keep saying, it will get refined. Because it's like if you want to be any player of any game, then it only is not just by theory or even books, but finally it is all about not even playing, but what you think about what you have done in the game. You contemplate, okay, today I did this, and this is where I lost the point. I should have gone, in badminton, I should have gone a little, like this or that. So when you start wondering about what happened in the discussion and what happened, and so we all tend to grow. I picked up some points in the way that you were looking at the chart, and so there is lots to learn from everyone in this world.
So we
Sometimes
would
I learn from my students also.
we will be happy to host a video or a Zoom call or anything with you as well, sir. Once when you get a chance, or I know you're very busy, it would be good.
Yeah, this today morning, for some reason, I mean, normally I get up at 6:30. So this time I got up at 6. And so then suddenly I saw our HDFC Krishnan. He sent me a message. So that's when I thought, okay, I'll try first time. And then it
There are
turned out
so
good.
many people. There's so many people who come and talk to you about talk about you in a very good way. Actually, I don't want to name them. They are here, but they said all great things about you and your class and everything. The only thing they always say, one thing is that in the class there are people at different levels of intelligence of astrology. So is there a way you can balance it out? That's the only they feel, but otherwise they say so much great things about you. That's how I've heard a lot about you as well.
Yeah, the issue is that in the current batch, professional astrologer is also one of the students, but he keeps quiet. She doesn't talk at all. Okay, but there are others who know. Sometimes I can't even put them off by saying you keep quiet, or Sometimes I feel like that. But this the last class I was disturbed heavily in the previous class, but this time I'm planning this Sunday. I'll be muting them all and then giving them the chance only by the hand raise method. So I'm going back to that. See, the moment I give them freedom, one or two could react like this, too many questions, and sometimes you people can't keep quiet. They want to, like we say in India, everybody is an astrologer and a doctor. So they can't they can't keep quiet also. They'll say, no, I also know so much. and then it goes on. But I think it's okay. It's just the same. We are all one soul, or we become many, and each one is telling something. It is okay. We can manage that.
I agree. And I would actually, is my humble thing, I would contact your students who shared to get your number if it's okay, and I'll probably get
Sure,
in
sure,
touch
sure.
with you to
Yeah.
see if we can schedule a session or something. We are based in the US. All, most of the people that is, of course, some in India as well. So we can share
Oh,
knowledge and stuff as well. That would be great if it's okay with you. And one of the things we saw in our class, randomly, we've been taking some surveys. I am sure you have some stats from your end as well. A lot of people coming to astrology, Vedic astrology in Rahu Mahadasa. Rahu is like bingo. Rahu, then Ketu. After first year and a half, they don't know what's happening. They come to Vedic, then Mercury, Jupiter. That's kind of
yeah.
what we've seen so far.
Rahu, Mercury, Jupiter is the highest incidence. But
And
I
Ketu.
think
And Ketu.
depending upon the angle of coming, for example, if they come in trouble, it is Rahu. If they come in confusion and then started to learn about a life, then it is Rahu. Whereas if they come in Jupiter, they are not confused. They just got curious and they want to learn more. So there is a slight difference between the way they entered. They entered in Rahu, it's different. In Ketu, most probably they went through nightmarish experience and then they wanted to know why things
Correct.
happen.
The
And
inner,
it's a
the
very
inner
nice
flow.
thing. Yeah, I think even some North Indian astrologers also said the same thing. But then one of my students conducted a survey and came up with the same conclusion. In fact,
So
I started my first book in astrology was in Rahu Dasha, Rahu Antardasha.
So what is interesting in this is there is one anomaly here. Okay. The one anomaly is I couldn't continue the discussion further. B.V. Raman's son was a speaker in my room few times.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So not the second one. The second one is Sachidanand Guruji. Okay.
Yeah, he is
So
into Vastu, I think.
correct. Actually, it's not B.V. Raman's son. It's B.V. Raman's grandson.
Grandson.
Okay.
Okay.
And he is his father is B.V. Raman's first son. Sachidanand Guruji's elder brother. I forgot his name. Okay. I forgot
Okay.
his B.V. Raman. I can't. Yeah.
Oh.
But Suryanarayan Rao's son I'm talking. I don't think it's Suryanarayan Rao, right? It
No, I
starts
think Supra
Suprajaraman.
Suprajaraman. Yeah,
Thank you.
correct.
Suprajaraman.
Yeah,
Suprajaraman was
Supra.
the one who came. Now, what he threw kind of like an atom bomb in the room is his father, which is, I mean, his grandfather, B.V. Raman,
Correct.
came
Yeah.
to astrology in Mars Mahadasa.
Oh.
So I probably was thinking that's why there's only one B.V. Raman, right? So, but I
No,
don't.
but there could be an error because
Correct.
I mean they're using Diviram Nanamsha.
Correct.
Because very close to Mars is Rahu, so it could be, we never know.
Right. So there was also one more gentleman who late, but everybody, I said, see, I have highest respect for you, right? From where you come, I have. Then he said, we are doing the BV Raman 2.0, all those things.
Oh,
I have
okay.
very high respect. I have very high regards because of BV Raman, C.S. Patel, K.N. Rao, all these people, very high regards, respect. So first, my humble salutations here, right? So it's already a gene for you, blessed everything. But what I wanted to is, even if we ask in this room, like how many people are there, please speak out, right? We asked, we took an immediate survey in front of them. Okay. Everybody was Rahu, Ketu, Rahu, Mercury, Jupiter. That's it. Okay.
It's only going around this.
That itself showed something. Okay. What happened was there was one gentleman. Okay. He said, I came in Mars. Okay. He was another like atom bomb kind of a thing. I said, like,
one more person.
yeah. Then what happened was he said, and then we closed. Okay, something to do work, research, etc. 2 days later, I want to actually acknowledge this gentleman. Okay, he came to the room again, and we were talking. We were closing the room. He came and he raised this thing. He raised the hand. We brought him on stage. He said, "See, we are closing. We are done." No, I want to say something. I said, "What it is?" 2 days ago, I came. I said it was Mars. I'm sorry, it was wrong. My mistake. It was Moon.
Oh.
So
he didn't even remember what dasha he was going through when he began.
exactly.
That's very strange. Very strange.
Exactly. right? But the point is, at least I felt he was humble enough to come and apologize in front of people.
At least he apologized.
Great.
Good, good.
Which at least I have another data point to say Mars is a question except B.V. Raman, who gave it to Mars. So that was interesting when I heard it from Supraja Raman. So,
I was connected with the organization for nearly 5 years,
wow.
and I used to write articles, and I wrote the monthly predictions under the pen name Utpala
Okay.
in astrological magazine. And I met Dr. B. Raman several times, and he had written handwritten, sent me handwritten letters. And there was a time when he introduced me to 15 VVIPs of India in one room.
Wow.
He just took me around one after the other. He said this person, like that, and then he to all of them he said he's the youngest member of our family. Like that, he introduced me. So that's when I came to know a lot of the political, the side of those India. They were all in one room, so they come for a conference. Lots of them. So I owe a lot to Dr. D.V. Raman. So in spite of the Ainamsha differences or whatever, I still hold him because he was the grand reviver of the man who stood for astrology. I don't know,
Right.
because of the British, the domination of the British, astrology could have died in India.
Right. Right.
And he brought, so we definitely owe him a lot in terms of that. So always, every day I talk about him to my somebody, because the Hindu predictive astrology was my first book.
The yellow color one. The yellow one.
Yeah.
Yellow color.
Yes, yeah.
Jupiter, the
In those
Jupiter.
days, yeah.
That
In those days it was
hold it to my
40
heart.
rupees.
I hold it to
40
my
rupees.
heart.
Okay.
Oh my God.
When I purchased it, it was 40 rupees. So that
Wow.
time it was Rahu Dasha. So today I think Rahu is 4, and therefore, okay, fine. I got it exactly at 40 rupees.
So,
but I picked up the book as though I was mesmerized, or I was, fated to pick it up. I saw so many books, but this book attracted, and I just took it, and I saw the content. It carried a lot of, maybe this is a good book, I thought. I paid 40 rupees, and then that is where I began. So that is Rahu.
wow.
One more thing. When we talk about Dasha, sometimes the Antardasha will be the deciding factor.
Correct.
So because Antardasha will be
the death happens in Antardasha.
Yeah, the Antardasha is the king of everything, because that seems to be the perfect time period for assessing anything. More than even Pratyanta. Okay.
So the way I do is I do Mahadasas 50%, Antardasas 25, and transits is 25. Okay, 50, 25, 25. Now, when I take a pause when certain events happen, such as Sadesati, okay, when moon going on top of your natal, Saturn going on top of your natal moon, especially the nakshatra, okay, then Ashtama Shani, okay, 8th, right? Then the third one is eclipse happening on your natal moon. So eclipse happening on natal moon, Janma Nakshatra, right? So that is where I do the calculation of to say that 8 months there is a challenge. 8 months I hold. The reason I hold 8 months is you have 30 degrees, right? You are two nakshatras, 1 quarter pada, right? So if you divide it in one nakshatra, if you divide, technically speaking, so Rahu is in one house for 18 months. Okay. And you have almost 9 total parts of a nakshatra in a house. So that means almost 2 months per part, right? If eclipse happens in one part, that whole 4 parts will be affected, which is 4 times 2, which is 8 months. That is how I do the thing for 8 months for the eclipse. So these are important things I hold, where it changes the chart. Okay, it holds the chart, but I look at the way I break it down is 50, 25, 25. Because see, your Mahadasa is still your captain, right? Your Mahadasa is still your captain. Your Antardasa is your vice captain, right? And your transits comes as the players. But somewhere the transits have the energy to block things in Sadesati, Ashtamasani, as well as your eclipse, Grahan. But how do you do? Is it similar, or how do you do, sir?
I follow I mean, these things definitely. But one of the rules, one of the most important way you could use a dasha, antardasha combination is using the dasha as the ascendant.
Correct. I do that. Correct. As per parashara, right?
Yeah,
Whichever,
yeah, yeah.
wherever, if it's
That is
12th,
a standard approach. Yeah, that is a standard approach.
correct.
So sometimes it will be 12th from dasha and also badly placed from ascendant.
Correct. Then it's
Then
God. Then it's God.
for yesterday also I saw, I was reading a chart where the Antardasha Nath is in 6th from the Lagna,
Correct.
and then it is 12th from Dashana. So what happens? Because 6th house connection is already there in the chart.
Correct.
So there are a lot of loans the person is going through. She's
Yep.
answering,
Enemies.
Yep. phone calls after phone calls, trying to battle with all of them at one time. So something like that, or labor problem, or because servants, like 6th house. So you can get a lot more. See, sometimes fate is not the same quantum. You understand? So depending upon how much you can stack up on a point, that much fate the person will have. So
Correct.
you will have a range. Maybe I have okay, there is a problem, but I can manage it. But
So
I have a problem where I can't manage this when too many things in the chart is against you.
So correct. I agree. One exception, what I do, sir, is I was just telling, I don't know if you joined today or not. Even today, last week also, I was explaining to the people. I look at the Ashtak Varga chart. When Saturn,
Yeah.
when Saturn gives a point like 0 point, even if it is in the 11th house of gains in transit. So let's
Okay.
say Moon is right now in. Let's say this Moon is in Pisces for a person who's born. Now Saturn is in the 11th house in Capricorn in transit, right? So which means it's the highest gain of the Upachayasthana here, right? Which will give you very good.
Correct.
Now
Correct.
Jupiter has moved to 12th, of course, but Jupiter was also in the 11th. But the point is, when Saturn is giving 0 point Varga score in Capricorn,
Okay.
that means I consider that it's not going to give you anything. It's not
Correct.
going to give you. So we saw those results. If you apply straight away, so see, there are two things here, right? One is you have to apply the principle of blocking, right? In Sanskrit, we call it as Veda.
Veda.
Right? So the
And
blocking has to be seen. Let's say there is no blocking also. Let's say if you eliminate
okay.
blocking, what happens is if the score of Ashtaka comes to 0, I saw even other person, so we were seeing Janet Jackson's chart today. Okay. She had
Okay.
0 in Virgo. Okay. So I said when Saturn enters Virgo, now, and what happened was let's look at it to see what is the score and everything. She was Aquarius ascendant, right? She was an Aquarius ascendant, and Moon was sitting in Moon and Jupiter was sitting in this one, second house, which is Pisces. So let's look at Saturn entering Virgo this year, which was November 2009 or something like that. Okay. So from there on, issues, depression, everything was there. Correct.
Okay.
So I don't go straight away with 3, 6, 11 or, in transit Saturn 3, 6, 11, 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, everything.
Exactly. In all my videos, I explained this point about transits. But I got bored up with transit results because it is the same thing again and again. So, but of course, people force me to do transit videos. But in these transit videos, I explain these aspects of life in terms of Ashtaka Varga. The Sarvasha Varga and the Binasha Varga. Both, both as a combination. This is actually a very dependable way of doing transit instead of not even considering the Ashtaka Varga. Because I think if you go through BPHS, it looks like Maharishi Parashara finally uses the Ashtaka Varga only for transit.
Right.
Because it ends with the Rashi Pinda, the last part where finally it will come to that. It will come to only transit. So I think it is mostly connected to transit, but sometimes you can give a reading also based on Saraswata score. For example, a particular house suddenly has got a low score, suddenly drops like anything, or one particular house has got extraordinary points. So in those cases, it is trying to tell something. So I used to tell people always look out for strange things in the horoscope or rare things in the horoscope.
So
and see, I want to tell you one thing. When people tell something in contradiction, you always use the statement, exceptions make the rule, because you don't have to answer
Well said.
You don't
Very
have
well
to, you don't have to
defend it.
all the time get 100%, be able to defend it. Sometimes you can, in medical world, you have medical, what they call freaks. So many things can happen. I don't know about this alone, because there are, where doctors were helpless, engineers were helpless, and all kinds of things can happen. So once in a while, you have to let, even a world champion like Magnus Carlsen gets defeated. So it doesn't mean that he's not, he doesn't understand chess. He understands it very well, much more than the computers. But once in a while, we will make mistakes. So I don't know. That is sometimes, it happens. So we should be ready for all that. And we don't have to say, no, I know I can be 100% correct all the time. If somebody says something, yeah, okay. If this Supra Jarama said, maybe there is always an exception. But
Correct.
in fact, please, take that statement serious. The exceptions make the rule is because it is coming in such a small numbers.
Correct.
And so
That's
you
why I
think
said
about
there's
it.
only one. There is only one BV Raman, right? That's why there's one BV
Yeah,
Raman.
yeah. It could be that. Okay, then you have like my students did a survey. They got the same answer. All these 30 years, I got the same answer. In fact, in my Ketu Dasa Oh My God article, I told to many people, astrology will get proven in Ketu Mahadasha. Till such time they'll say, is astrology working? Does astrology work? But when Ketu Dasha comes, and towards the last 1/3 of Ketu Dasha, they will become believers. They
Yes.
will be taken by surprise. So many stories I have, but
Yes.
I'm running out of time. I have to go for. I have my 9:30 onwards. Till 1:30 I consult.
Sure.
So I have to get ready. And so it was a wonderful experience. Thank you. I never expected to talk. I just wanted to listen, but I don't know, something happened and they pulled me in. In fact, I told Krishna that I'm not, I'll remain silent, because long time, I've been
It's
speaking.
just not Krishna, right? There's so many people messaging me, right? So don't blame it on Krishna.
Okay.
There's so many people
Okay.
here who is messaging me.
Okay.
They're also there.
Okay.
Just to let you know, this session is recorded, right? So I will send you the recorded audio thing as well for your reference as well. And I'll
Sure.
definitely get in touch with you for maybe we can organize a session for all the people as well here. And I would highly recommend that please all of you follow Dilip Kumar, please, in Clubhouse as well. Please,
Oh,
and
yeah.
please check him out. Please follow. He considers with, he comes with very high humility as well, and he's considered with very high recommendations from his students as well, right? The students are the best advocates, right? Just the same way the fruit is the best advocate for a tree, right? So please, I would say that highly follow him. We'll definitely, I will definitely get in touch with you because they already sent me your number as well already in the meantime. They're super.
Okay.
So I will send you my name is Srini again, and just to make sure that I'm based in the US and been here for 20 plus years or so, but just to make sure that you remember me as well among all the people. But
Sure.
send you the recording thing as well. It was a big pleasure for us that you were able to join, and we'll probably organize a better session as well down the line whenever you're free. I know you're very busy, but
Sure. No, it's not too busy, but I just
I
want
know
to
you
keep
have a
some
schedule.
time,
You have your
Yeah,
schedule.
that's
Right? You have your schedule. We respect that as well. Definitely. Yes, it's night for us, and it's the day has just begun. So definitely, and I hope everything gets better with COVID. Take care. Stay safe in India as well, and hopefully things
Yes.
get better. It's really a great pleasure that you were able to come and join and enlighten all of us here in this process.
I also learned a lot from this session. Thank
No,
you.
thank you. So I'm very, very young. I'm a kiddo actually, a kid in the block. So thank you.
Okay. All the very best.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
I'll
Have a
leave.
good day. Happy Friday.
Though I wish I could have continued, but I have to.
I
Okay.
understand. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, wow, what a great session, guys. I can't even ask for this. So thanks to the people who messaged me, and thanks to, letting me know, and thanks for bringing people to the room as well. It is such a great blessing. I really appreciate it. Okay. Any other questions? So it's interesting that this 360, 365, 25 is still kind of up in the air, right? Okay. Yeah. It's Guruji, Satchidanand Guruji, correct. In Bangalore. Okay. 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 Interesting. Thank you. Great, Rahul. This is one more validation. I see people have raised hands. Sorry, I've not even seen the phone. We're just excited talking and so many. Okay. Any more questions? We had some exciting session today. Go ahead. Okay. See, it's not only me. It's not only me, right? It's go ahead. Finish off. Finish off. He had so here is the thing, right? Here is the thing. You have to bring this chart. We'll do analysis. See, it is not about again the rule, exception, everything, right? It's not about right or wrong. But I will tell you, he also acknowledged that yoga is not there, right? Not only for Mesha Lagna, Mesha, Rishabha, Mithuna. Three of them don't have it. They three don't have it. The first one starts from Cancer Lagna. There is a logic also why. Okay, there is a logic. Without a logic, I'm not telling you why it starts from Cancer. I'm only telling you from a logic. Now, this is the rule. Now, exception could be there. The Dharma Karma Bhati Yoga could be coming from some other way. You may think it's coming. So bring the chart. All I'm saying is bring the chart of the information. We will review and discuss, understand how it is. If it's fair to say. That's the only way I can answer that. Yeah, that's the only way I would be able to answer it. All right, what do you guys think about today's session? Was it good? You can type your comments in Clubhouse or you can speak out. I mean, please share feedback because it may be a good idea to bring other people also, just not me. So that's why I'm asking. We can, right? Absolutely. I mean, absolutely right. So I'll see if I can connect with them again. I'm connected. I have to message them and see if I can, we can definitely bring people as well, right? So absolutely yes. But it was a great thanks to all the students of Dilip Kumar for bringing them today. And I don't want to name names, but they know it, so I know them. So I just want to thank all of them for bringing him on stage here as well and messaging me to know that he's there. I didn't even know he was there. So that was a great thing. So thank you. Tana, I think I've done anything else on this chart. Yes, exactly. I'm also starving. I'm also starving now, and I have to eat and as well. But absolutely. So we'll wrap up. And tomorrow, I don't know if I'm not doing any session, but I do wanted to let you know. Next Wednesday, I'm scheduling a call at 8 o'clock Central Time. Something very different and unique, which is called the Vipassana. Anybody know about Vipassana? That's the thing about the Buddhist, similar to the Buddhism stuff. So please join next week Thursday. That is about 8 o'clock Central Time, not Thursday, Wednesday. Okay, next week Thursday, Thana, we'll plan to continue your chart sessions from little early. Today I had work calls, so I have to move it a little bit, but we'll start around 6:30 or something. But next Wednesday, I'll be blocking for the Vipassana thing. So please come. It's a very interesting thing about Buddhism and healing and stuff. It's all about healing. So it's just not astrology, but other things also. And I'm bringing some people who are into it, who have done it. So you can ask all these questions. I'm not an expert at all. I kind of know 0.0001%. That's it. Okay. So any questions so far on stage? I see Nikita, Giridhar, Astro, and Teresa as well. And Ajay. Hi. I have early morning calls. I understand your perspective, acknowledge it. I see what I can do in the weekend, but weekday, what happens is I have early morning calls, and I have to get up 6 in the morning and I have to finish. And in the night, I have to go to Lalita session for Nakshatras, the speaker as well. So I have also commitments in this process, right? And I have a full-time job. So I am not like a full-time astrologer, right? So I am into fashion industry and I work full-time in fashion and then I do astrology, right? So I have multiple things on my plate as well, right? So it just becomes challenging. I'll try to see what I can, but I can't promise. No, I know, but you have to understand today it's already 9:30 right here. I'm yet to have my dinner. It's 9:30. I'm starving, to be honest. It is just that astrology is so good that I enjoy it. We all enjoy it, so I'm there. But I'm technically starving, right? And then I have to eat my food, and then I have to get up onto the next nakshatra thing, and then I have to hit the bed and then wake up for 6 o'clock early in the morning for my calls as well, for my work calls. So I have a schedule as well. So sometimes it is a challenge. I understand. When you have to put that little extra effort, right? It's not something as how should I say? I don't know. It's a challenge. I'll figure it out. We don't know. Hopefully, we'll see what we can do. But feedback well noted, and thank you. Okay, any other questions, Nikita, Giridhar, or Astro, Teresa? Or anybody else? We can close the room then, here and Zoom as well. I'll just say a quick prayer and then we'll close the room for today then, okay?